YouTube, what's up? Back again for another video here on Andrew Upshaw Fishing. Guys, today we are talking the big news of this week. I would say this week. I'm not going to say today because I'm not going to post a video today. I'm not going to be one of those guys, but probably will be posted tomorrow, which is today, but tomorrow. I think y'all get the point. Anyways, it is about the MLF BFL forward-facing sonar rules for 2026 and increasing money. Decreasing entry fees. I don't know if I read that correctly, but I know that's exactly what it said because I had to reread it about 3 times to make sure I wasn't missing something. Now, when I look at it over in the AI overview, because I'm not going to just read that entire article again, the key rule change this year is forward-facing sonar or 360-degree sonar is limited to 3 hours per day in both one-day qualifiers and two-day super tournaments. 3 hours a day, it has to be consecutively used. You can't use it for an hour and turn it off and then use it for another hour and turn it off. You have to use it, when you turn it on, it has to be used for those 3 hours. Now, if you go on Facebook right now, if you go on Instagram right now, you are seeing a massive backlash as far as that rule is concerned. You're seeing a lot of old school BFL guys that like it. You're seeing a lot of the guys that have been fishing the last few years not like it. Mainly, the biggest question is how in the heck are they going to police it? In the press release, it does not state how they're going to do it. Now, I will say this. For everybody up in arms about, I don't know how they're going to do it. They're not going to do it. They're not going to be able to police it. They probably already figured out a way to police it, and they just didn't release it. In this particular press release, it is coming. Now, is it something you're going to agree with still? Maybe, maybe not. But I'm telling you right now, they will explain this rule. So don't freak out because they didn't explain it in the original press release about announcing how they are going to do it. I've never been, just especially in the last handful of years, been the biggest proponent to MLF, but guys, y'all all know that they will have to explain it. Now, I will say this. If they go to the first tournament and they haven't explained it, then we absolutely have a problem because I want to know, just like anybody else that might fish a BFL, how are you going to manage 3 hours? Now, the cool thing about electronics, the first thing is there's all kinds of settings in there. I mean, we use these little lock boxes this year on the MPFL. So, I mean, there's always that opportunity. And the fact is what this is going to do is eliminate pro anglers, and I say pro anglers, BFL pros from not having a co-angler or a boat-on-boat draw. And even then, I'm kind of confused because if you do a boat-on-boat draw, would just one angler get to use it for 3 hours? What about the next angler? I mean, and those are all questions I feel like they will answer. Maybe they won't even allow boat-on-boat draws anymore. It's been a while since I fished a BFL, but I do find it very fascinating that they eliminated both forward and 360. Now, that is very interesting just in the simple fact that it's really going to, change the way that people fish. I mean, it's a BFL. This isn't like the Bass Pro Tour, MPFL, the Elite Series, so on and so forth. This is its own thing. And this is where just everyday guys are going out there with their equipment that they've all purchased probably at full price. And you're telling them that, hey, you're not allowed to use this thing that you just spent $10,000 on. I mean, I could see that as being kind of a black eye for those guys. They spent that money, they spent that time, and a very limited time. It's not like they get to go fish 7 days a week. These guys might get to go practice 1 or 2 days, maybe. I mean, heck, when I was fishing BFLs and I didn't have a pot to piss in, I wasn't even practicing half the time. And if I did, I went out there for a couple hours, got a couple bites, and I rolled on. And I mean, if they'd have made a rule, well, you can't use any of this sonar, then I'd been like, why in the heck did I even have it then? I do believe, this is just my personal opinion, it would have probably been easier for the BFLs to either say you can or you can't use it, just so there wouldn't be any potential gray area. But then again, I mean, maybe when they release the actual rule and how it's going to be enforced, then it might give us a little bit more of an explanation on it. But what this tells me is that every pro is going to have a co-angler in the boat with them. and it's going to be up to that co-angler to make sure that they police it, I'm assuming. That's just an assumption. And by all means, I'm probably going to be wrong there, but that's an assumption of mine. And so I guess they're going to set a timer. That's why I'm asking, because I don't know. What maybe y'all know, or maybe y'all can tell me in the comments, because I wouldn't want to be a co-angler in that situation and have to not pay attention to my tournament. You know what I'm saying? I would rather focus on me trying to catch bass out of the back of the boat than have to make sure the pro's doing his job and not cheating, basically. So I'm curious to see what happens. I'm not sure what's going to happen. They dropped the co-angler limit to 3 fish. I don't know if that's a change. Once again, I haven't been around as much, but I know there's quite a few co-anglers that are not happy about it being 3 fish, because the whole reason about 3 fish is that it really changes the outcome and how you approach a tournament. So for years past, I actually did fish as a co-angler in a couple of tournaments. If you figured out a way to catch 5, and especially in this day and age with forward-facing sonar, you did really good in the tournament, because maybe not everybody caught 5. And if you were able to just hit that milestone, you did pretty darn good. Well, when you cut that down to 3, well, I'm going to tell you right now, there's going to be 10 times more 3 fish limits than there would be 5 fish limits. So anybody that just gets lucky and catches 3 is going to have a pretty legit chance to win. So it takes that guy out of the equation that is going to go out there and blister on them every time they're in the back of a boat. And now they're going to for sure have to catch way bigger fish just to be able to compete. So I kind of see both sides of that. And for sure it's going to be a little bit different. Now, this is maybe the biggest news. We're all stuck on forward-facing sonar, and I could talk about it for days and days and days, and y'all get annoyed, and then you're going to call me Randy Blockett. But anyways, one big thing that MLF has done, and they're trying their best to draw anglers in, is they drop their entry fees and increase their payouts. I don't care if they increased it by $50, $100, $1,000. They increased their payouts from this year and drop the entry fees. That is a big deal, because you don't see that anymore hardly ever. And what that tells me is the BFLs have always been like the bread and butter of MLF, just as much as the Toyota series has been the bread and butter of MLF. When you start seeing changes like that where they're dropping it and increasing, they're really trying to get anglers in. I don't know if it's because they're struggling to get anglers. I know they struggled to get co-anglers this year, just for the simple fact that with forward-facing sonar, a lot of co-anglers didn't want to go fishing because they didn't want to be out in the middle of the lake and spinning circles and trying to catch a single bass that's out there. I completely understand their frustrations. I know it's hard. I know it's frustrating, so I get it. But I will say that maybe is more worrisome to me than it is like, oh, yay. Because if they're having to cut that and increase that, their numbers must be really bad. And definitely they need a boost. Now, unfortunately speaking, and I say unfortunately because I want to see every single tournament organization survive. I want to see MLF survive. I want to see Bassmaster survive. And I want to see MPFL survive. Unfortunately speaking, by changing the forward-facing sonar rule at the same time that they made the other big changes with the entry fees and the payout, I think they're going to counterbalance themselves. So what I mean by that is, for every angler that you gain by dropping entry fees and raising the payout, you're going to lose because of the forward-facing sonar changes. Now, I will say this. Do they still get the same amount of anglers if they don't make the rule change, or they keep the forward-facing sonar in use for the entire day? I don't know if they get the co-anglers that they need. Now, let's just say, hypothetically speaking, they cut forward-facing sonar out and they do this. They're going to lose all those guys that do use forward-facing sonar, so they still don't get a full field. So what I mean to say by this is, I don't know if they can win in this situation. I don't know if the anglers will win in this situation, because at our current state, it's either you're for it or you're against it, and there's no in-between. Now, I'm an in-between guy. I like both. I like using it. I don't like using it. It just kind of depends on the situation, depends where I'm at and what I'm doing. So I see positives to it, I see negatives to it, and that's just what it is. But you rarely see anglers that really could care less. I mean, most of them are really against or really for it. And I'll probably get blistered in the comments, and that is fine. I mean, I get blistered on the comments all the time, so it's whatever. And some of you, that's just the way you communicate, and that's fine. But what I will say is that I worry about them in that situation because I understand what they're trying to do and the way they're trying to balance it out. And I think it is a decent middle ground. I like the fact that they're dropping entry fees and raising payout way better. I think that is fantastic. I wish all tournament trails would do that, if I'm being honest. But I do like some of the changes they made. I just, like every other angler out there, I wonder how they will police the 3-hour window with forward-facing sonar. I don't know if it's through cameras or what have you. You know, I'll be honest, I know a lot of guys that fish BFLs and they don't, and we fished them for a long time. The thing about BFLs though is you get a lot of local anglers that really don't pay that close attention to rules. They fish like 1 BFL a year, maybe 2 BFLs a year. And I pray that they do pay attention to that no forward facing sonar rule, because I'm going to tell you right now, MLF is going to run into some issues with it. You're going to have anglers that use it all day and be like, well, I didn't see that in the rule sheet. Or I don't have Facebook. Or I don't, I didn't pay attention at the meeting. I promise you for the next year, that rule is going to suck on MLF. So guys, that's a wrap. I hope y'all enjoyed this. Tell me what you think below. How are they going to police this? How are they going to manage this situation? I really have no idea, but I'd love to hear what y'all think. Until the next video, I'll see you on the next one.